Hello, Wildcat families. I'm coming to you today because I know as we get closer to school starting that you may be apprehensive or anxious, and rightfully so. Many of you are asking about our Return to Learn plan, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. As you can imagine, we've worked tirelessly all summer. Our principals have been involved, our teachers have been involved, and those plans are going to roll out on Tuesday, July 21st. We're going to have a written version, and then each one of our site leaders are creating short videos. So you can just watch the video that pertains to your site. But today I want to remind you of a couple of things. And the first thing that I want to remind you of is our purpose. We know that our students need to be in school. We know they've been out for a long time. They need to interact with their teachers and they need to interact with their peers. However, we also know that we have some vulnerable students and we have some vulnerable families. So we have created learning options for our PCPS students. Option 1 is the traditional classroom, and our principals and teachers have worked tirelessly to create a plan to implement layers of protection to return to learn safely, not only for our students, but for our staff and for our community. If your child attends Learning Option 1, school will look a little differently. I have talked to many parents, and the main concern is they don't want their students in a room all day and not being able to move. And I think when you see these videos, you will see all the protections, the layers of protections that we're putting in place, and still trying to maintain a sense of normalcy for our students. Many of you have asked what will happen if we go into an intermittent closure if you choose option 1, which is the traditional learning style. Our teachers are prepared to turn instantly into distance learning. And distance learning is not going to be packets like we did back in the spring when we were forced into closure. We had no prep time in the spring. We were not ready. We are ready now. We are ready to meet your children with an instructional day if we are in intermittent closure with teacher-taught lessons. There will be grading, there will be attendance taking, and we'll get more information out to you at that point. However, we know that some people aren't comfortable with option 1. So we also have learning option 2, which is an online comprehensive curriculum for our students in grades 6 through 12. Option 2 allows for our students in 6 through 12 to participate in online learning and participate in our extracurricular activities, whether it be fine arts or band or athletics or orchestra. Parents will have to have a way to get their students to school for those extracurricular activities. But if your student is in option 2, they will do an online curriculum, and it will be teacher-led. There will be videos, there will be demos. However, it will be a teacher from a curriculum, Edgenuity or Accelerate. But in the meantime, there will be a Ponca City Public Schools highly qualified, certified teacher available to your child for tutoring, to answer questions. They can Zoom, and you can bring your student into a location to take tests. There will be expectations, there will be requirements, and it will require an interview consultation process so we can talk to you about what the requirements are and what you need to pick up. We will provide a computer and a hotspot for those families who do not have access to a device or reliable internet activity. Option 3 is our most restrictive option, and that's for students K through 12, and they do all of their learning online. They meet with the Ponca City teacher once a week. They're available by phone call or via Zoom throughout the week to support your student, but they don't interact in our activities. They may have to come in, they will have to come in to take tests, and it will be at a site where you don't have to come in the main building and interact with all of our students. It will just be one-on-one with the Ponca City teacher. Now, let's say we go into intermittent closure and you have selected option 2 or option 3 for your student. You will continue right on with the online learning. However, depending on where the intermittent closure is, your child may not get to participate in the extracurricular activities. And if you're thinking of option 2 and 3, there will be online electives too. It just won't be core courses. Your child will have the option to take online electives as well. And that's something that we'll talk to you about in the consultation interview process. Many are asking about the layers of protection, and we have addressed just about every aspect of school. Your principals will talk about entrance and exit procedures, student screening. We will screen for temperatures. We've had to consider our assemblies and large gatherings. Many of our sites are planning outdoor assemblies if the weather is conducive to outdoor assemblies. In fact, we will utilize a lot of outside learning environments because we know that it's safer outside. We'll be staggering schedules, so we won't have as many students in the cafeteria. Some of our principals have planned an A-B schedule for lunch or breakfast. So Group A may eat in the cafeteria one week, and Group B may eat in the classroom for once a week. And then they may switch. Many parents have asked me, what about recess? Will our kids still get to go outside? The answer is yes. For our elementary kids, we will still have recess. We know that kids need to get outside and run and play. And actually, outside is the safest environment. A lot of our principals have set up zones on their playground where small groups of children will play. So example, kindergarten and 1 at an elementary school may play in one zone. Second and third may play in another zone. So students are not as exposed to so many children. We want to keep small cohorts of children together. Many of you are concerned about face coverings, and the science and the data and the research has changed a lot about face coverings. And here's what I can tell you about face coverings. We are requesting that every student has a face covering available. We know that it will be hard for students to wear a face covering all day long. However, we're asking that they have a face covering available because we will have face covering zones. We may not be able to social distance at all the time. If we have students working in a small group, that will be a face covering zone. And you'll feel more assured about face coverings, I believe, when you see the videos that our principals are creating that will roll out Tuesday, July 21st. We are going to social distance as much as we possibly can, and it will take some retraining for our students. We will have to rearrange our classrooms, but we've worked with healthcare officials, we've worked with the State Department of Education, we've worked with the K County Department of Health, the Oklahoma State Department of Health, and we have some great plans in place. So all of that information will roll out to you on Tuesday, July 21st, and there's many, many more things that I am not mentioning today. Many of you are wondering how we will determine if there is an intermittent closure. And I have met with the K County Health Department multiple times and visited with the director multiple times. And this is how we understand it to happen. If a student or a staff member tests positive for COVID-19, there will be an automatic contact tracing investigation. And here is the trigger for being involved in a contact tracing investigation. The trigger is you have to have been less than 6 feet for more than 15 minutes from the infected person, someone who tests positive. So let's say that we have a school and we have 10 to 15 second graders who have been involved in a contact tracing investigation because they had been exposed to a student or staff member who tests positive. It's likely we would close second grade for a period of 14 days, and the teachers and students would automatically change to distance learning. This is not the comprehensive curriculum from option 2 and option 3. Your students will be taught by their regular teacher. It will not be packets. We have purchased document cameras for all of our teachers, where they can do live instruction for part of the day and then make some assignments, and it won't be all day learning. It won't be 8 hours of learning. There will be some teachers directed learning, some self-directed learning, and I'm telling you, our teachers have worked hard to plan for this. We're asking a lot for our teachers to be able to provide this to your child. Our teachers love your children and they can't wait to see them, but we want to protect them and we want to protect our staff as well. So that is how it will work with contact tracing investigation. One thing that I do want to tell you, we will not be able to release any names. I will not know who may or may not have tested positive because of HIPAA regulations. However, we will know if a student has been asked to quarantine for 14 days. So we can see how many of our students have been asked to quarantine, and then we can make decisions on intermittent closure at that time. I do not foresee the entire district closing as it did last year when we knew nothing about COVID-19. However, you know this is a very, very fluid situation. Things can change. And speaking of things changing, I want to go back to the face coverings. At this point in time, they are not mandated all day long by our state superintendent. We know that there are going to be areas where we cannot meet social distance guidelines and we will have face covering zones. However, if the state superintendent mandates that masks will be worn all day, we will have to comply and we will do our best. We know that students will need a break. They'll need to be able to go outside and take their face covering off. That has not been done at this time. It's left up to local districts, and we have a good plan. We will utilize face coverings when we cannot social distance appropriately. And for example, I had a teacher talk to me yesterday, and she's concerned about health. And if she leans over a student to help them, that might be a face covering zone where they pull their face covering up. We want as much normalcy as we can for your children, and we also want to protect our staff and our students as well. You may have a face covering or you may not have a face covering. However, beginning July 21st, we are going to offer Wildcat face coverings at cost. They're like $8.50, and they're a dry fit material. We have a navy one with a Wildcat and a red face covering with a PC. They're $8.50. We'll roll that out to the public. Also available is a neck gaiter. It's kind of like a neck muff, and it would be great for our students because if they don't need to wear it, it will just hang around their neck and they will not lose it. And then they could pull it up over their nose or their mouth. And we're looking at ways to get those for our students, but we will roll out a team store. Watch our Facebook page, watch for press releases. on July 21st, and these are at cost. We're not trying to make any money off of these face coverings, just have them available. We will also have them available for our patrons if our patrons might want one. They're super comfortable. You can breathe through them. They do not fog your glasses too terribly. They do just a little bit, but they are a high quality mask for a great price. One thing that I can tell you too about option 2, option 3, and even option 1, we are going to allow people to make one change within the semester. So let's say you opt for option 1 and you don't feel comfortable about how things are going, or we've had several intermittent closures. We will allow you to move to option 2 and option 3. There will be requirements for option 2 and option 3, and expectations for learning and expectations for participation. However, we are not going to jump back and forth from option 1 to option 2 and back to option 1. We'll allow one move through the semester. It's not good for kids to jump back and forth on different styles of learning, but I hope that gives you some comfort. So if you're not happy with option 1 and you choose it, you may switch. Or if you're not happy with option 2 or 3 and things start getting better, and I hope and pray every day that we have a vaccine, at least by second semester, you can always switch back to option 1. We talked about the options, the online learning options, the traditional option and the online. We previously had told you that July 15th was the deadline for option 2 and option 3. We realized that things change daily. We needed that deadline to plan for staffing. We will let you go beyond that deadline. In fact, if we let you move, which we will, after school starts, if option 1 is not working for you. So email registration at pcps.us if you are interested in option 2 or option 3, and we will get a packet sent to you. So we have a plan for all of our students. We have options for all of our students, and many of you know I have talked to hundreds of you, and I am happy to do that. I will talk to you in the evenings. I will talk to you on the weekends. Call us. We know you're apprehensive. We know you're anxious, and we can give you this information. But I assure you that you are going to feel better once you hear the layers of protection for option 1. Our principals and our teachers and our support staff love and care about your kids, and we have put intentional, deliberate, and thoughtful plans together to protect the students of Ponca City. Please call if you have questions. Keep this date in mind. July 21st, we are going to roll out the informational videos. Our board meeting is on Monday, July the 20th, and they will roll out the following morning. In the meantime, feel free to call us at 580-767-8000. You may ask for me specifically. If I'm in a meeting, I will return your call. I hope this helps to with your anxiety and your anxiousness. However, I know that you still have lots of questions. That's why we're here. We are here to serve our children of Ponca City Public Schools, so feel free to give us a call. Thanks so much for your time.